And today, okay, actually, sorry. I decided to try wearing headphones for this. The headphones for this one. To try to help the audio quality, but no, that is very awkward. But as I was saying, thank you all. All for tuning in. Today, we have another episode of Trainer Reacts, a series where I, a licensed personal trainer, strength and conditioning coach, corrective exercise specialist, and nutritionist, react to the training advice of famous athletes, fighters, martial artists, general, those kinds of people. And today, we actually are doing this in the style of a standard reaction video because we actually have a video of the guy we're covering today talking about his training advice for people. Today we are covering the legendary Don Frye. And Don Frye is one of, if not the greatest MMA fighter to ever live. And if you don't know who he is real quick, here, before we actually cover the training, I'll actually give you guys a brief introduction to who he is. Because, it's one thing to say, oh, we're talking Jack Dempsey, the greatest boxer ever, and giving his fight and giving his title of heavyweight champion of the champion boxer of the 1920s. Or with Masoyama, saying he's the founder of Kyokushin Karate. It is another thing entirely to specify who Don Frye is. So, this is the perfect fight to demonstrate who Don Frye is. His most iconic one ever. If I remember correctly, the viewership of this fight actually surpassed the World Cup the day it was happening. So, this was his fight. Yoshihiro Takayama, a Japanese pro wrestler. If you don't realize, Don Frye is the one in the American shorts, in the American flag shorts. Just look at that mustache. You could probably block face punches with that mustache. Okay, the stare down. All right, here it is. This is it. Just punching each other in the face. No defense for just a minute straight. When I usually say what my favorite fight is of all time, usually I'll say Jack Dempsey versus Jess Willard. Although recently I've been saying, Stephen Thompson versus Kevin Holland. That was a really good fight. But this goes beyond ranking. This is like a movie fight scene. But not like a John Wick type movie. We're talking... This is a fight scene from a really poorly made B movie. And it makes it even better. And fight stops. Okay. Now, with that being said, that gives you a good idea of who Don Frye is. So, let's actually get to the training for this, because quite frankly, that took a little bit longer than I was expecting. I wasn't expecting to take so long actually looking for the video. Okay. Now this, if I'm if I'm remembering correctly, this is an old training tape. Yeah, that got edited into a YouTube format. Okay, this is the copyright disclaimer. Right. Okay. And okay. Okay, none of that stuff's actually important. It's basically just saying that I can't repurpose this stuff and sell it. Okay, note, consult your physician before beginning this or any type of exercise program. Now, you see, generally I'm not the biggest fan of this message just because it feels like people might take it to the extreme of, okay, well, walking is considered an exercise, so I should probably talk to my doctor before I start taking daily before I should, start going for a walk once every day or so. I mean, unless you have actual have genuine health concerns or problems, light exercise is generally fine. It's a genuine exercise program that you should consult your doctor for. Like if you decide you're going to start doing doing calisthenics or lifting weights, or even say taking up a sport or a martial art, you should consult your doctor for, probably. I mean, I didn't, but at the same time, I was 10. Admittedly, that maybe it would have been a good idea to anyway, with all the health problems I've had. So, it's a good message, but don't take it to the extreme, is all I'm saying. All right. Okay, that's one heck of an intro to your training tape. But this is actually a good point to mention. Don Frye's two main martial arts were boxing and judo. I think wrestling too. Actually, I think he might have been boxing and wrestling, but then he got a black belt in judo. But okay, my memory of his entire training history is a bit off. But okay, sorry for that. Okay, well, I think now we get into the actual stuff that we came to. Yeah, he was a UFC champion. And that was back in the days where it wasn't just okay, you do one fight in a night and then you work up your way in the ranks. It was multiple fights in a night. Okay, this tape's kind of dragging.
Hi, welcome to the Predator Conditioning video. We developed these workout routines over the last several fights. It wasn't just something that I developed, my teammates developed. As always, you have to have a good, strong team in order to become a champion. It's not something that's done just by myself. A lot of my training is solo training, like the running, the bag work, what have you. But a lot of it relies on my training partners. I have 4 great training partners that work hard constantly for me. They dedicate a lot of their time and they support me all the time with this event. What I do when I'm at home.
Okay, before going on, him saying it's essential to have training partners in order to get good progress. I would more or less agree with that, especially as a martial artist. Primarily you're gonna want training partners. partners. Most people say sparring is mandatory if you want to have good progress, and even if you don't agree with that, like I'm not the biggest proponent of that philosophy either. It is another thing entirely to say that you wouldn't. That's not a good idea to do, say, two-person drills. Have an actual person to practice, say, your throwing or takedowns, and of course, he was a wrestler, so you need a person to wrestle with because solo drills will only get you so far with wrestling. So, and then there are just some things that are good to have a partner for. Like, I hate running unless I have a person to help me keep pace, which is why I preferred using a treadmill so much, because it's automatically keeping your pace for you, making it easier. Which is one of the reasons why people pretend like running on a treadmill doesn't isn't as bad as running normally. And to, and then I just say, no, it's definitely on the same thing. It's just the difference of having a pacer when you're running and not. So yeah, training partners, I say say if you can have training partners, get them.
Home, I get up in the morning and I'll run 2, 3, 4 miles, whatever it takes.
Okay, unsure what he means by whatever it takes.
Then go back to bed. I'll get up later and I'll eat something and I'll go work out. What I do in my morning workout is lifting weights. I'll lift weights for probably about an hour and a half. I warm up by jumping.
Okay. He specified that he lifts weights for about an hour and a half, but didn't specify any of the details on that. Not sure what he means there. Okay, we'll probably speculate on that later, if he doesn't say anything.
Rope. Again, I go home, I eat something. I'll probably take another nap. I get up, I hit the heavy bag. I hit the heavy bag probably for about an hour, hour and a half. Again, I get something to eat. And then I go to sleep again. And then I get up and I travel an hour and a half to go to my workout facility. That's where my 4 partners come into play. We work out probably for about anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours to 2.5 hours. I'm hop back.
Yeah, I believe 2.5 hours is about the standard time of for your typical martial arts class too. Yeah, too. So that sounds about standard. For reference, with with the classes I take, they're about 2 hours. Each time. They were 1.5, but we went up to 2 hours not too long ago. So, saying he works with his partners for for anywhere from an hour and a half to 2.5 hours. Yeah, it sounds about standard for what would be a typical martial arts class, to be honest. Though I imagine imagine a higher intensity.
In the truck, I go home. I get home at midnight. This is something that you have to adapt to your style. Like I said, sometimes we work out for an hour. Sometimes we work out for 2.5 hours. It all depends on how the workout's going and how I'm feeling. You have to listen to your body. Sometimes you get up and you say, I'm just too tired. Hey, take the day off. Nobody's going to sue you for it. It's something you have to listen to your body. You have to be aware. Sometimes you got to take a day off because you have to recuperate, not only physically, but mentally. This stuff will wear on you after a while. If you train hard all the time, you become strong mentally, but it does tear at the body. Also, what you're going to do is you're going to build your conditioning. The conditioning is
okay. Switching points, so I'll just comment on what he was just saying. Now he's talking about taking a day off, as in he trains every day, but if he feels he needs to take a day off, then he'll take one. And this makes sense. I mean, I do the same thing, even though I don't train every day. Like the other day, last week at the gym, I hurt my back, so I didn't take, or at least I was having some bad back pain that day, so I stopped training. So that's more or less what he's getting at. So yeah, do that. All right, now moving on from there, I believe he's actually about to start talking about, yes, about the conditioning itself.
Probably one of the top key factors in the fight game. If I go in there and I'm looking across the octagon at, say, Marco Huas, I think Marco Huas and I probably are equal as far as fighting skills, both standing and on the ground. It'd probably just be a mirror image. Now, for me to gain the advantage, I have to have better conditioning than Marco. Marco's a fantastic fighter. Marco, I think, swims, he runs, he works out just as hard as I do. What I have to do is I have to work out that much more harder. 2 times harder than him, 2.5 times harder than him, whatever it takes. Because during that fight, we're going to reach a certain point to where somebody's going to snap, both physically and mentally. And that's where the conditioning comes in and you gain the edge.
Okay, that's yeah, very much a valid point, and it's something that every fighter more or less agrees on. Yeah, if you have two people of equal skill, you're it'll just come down to who can outlast the other. But of course, there are other factors that go into this, like some aspects of fighting, take a greater toll on the body than others. For instance, boxers generally require less strength or endurance than a wrestler, just because wrestling is so much more physically taxing on the body, than boxing is. Until you start getting hit, of course, because well, taking a punch from a professional boxer is gonna start screwing up everything immediately. So that's where the problems comes in there. But we're talking just the actual act of doing it yourself. Wrestling another person is more physically taxing than trying to box with another person up until you're actually getting hit. So that's one of the So generally, it also comes down to the specialty of the fighters as well. Like yeah, because if a person specializes in wrestling and they try to wrestle for the entire length of the match, there isn't going to be much reason to to believe that a person of equal skill with slightly with slightly less intense conditioning could potentially outlast them if they're not trying to wrestle for the entire time. I'm not sure I phrased that in a way that makes sense. But okay, let's move on because we got a long video to get through.
Jump rope. I generally started jumping rope with a CD. I took my favorite CD, boom, shove it in the player. Next thing you know, I jump rope for the whole CD. After a while, you're thinking, my God, how many more songs are on this silly thing? And it's no longer your favorite CD. You begin to hate that CD. So you have to go down to the store and you've got to buy another one. And that becomes your most hated CD. This is what you got to do. You got to get into this focus. This is serious stuff. It requires a lot of dedication.
I remember I actually used this training method back when I had to do that weight cut. Cut for that kickboxing match a couple years back, because it was 40 pounds in 3 months that I had to lose. Never let another person arrange your matches. Every morning I would wake up and put on my hoodie and go out back and jump rope for the length of a CD. Fortunately, with YouTube playlists, I didn't actually have to use a CD. I just made around the same length. Length of a CD, and went from there. But dear God, this is hard, especially because, well, I live in a northern state, and it was in the winter months. It's not that so much that the cold was bothering me, but inhaling the cold air throughout the entire time. Ugh.
Once I become loose, then I can go onto something and do what I want. I say if I get loose, I can go hit the bag. You can't walk up there and you can't hit the bag when you're all stiff and you're all tight. What you're going to do is you're going to strain something. You're not going to get the snap. Boom, you need a long reach. You need a snap. You got to use your hips. You got to use your legs. That's where the jumping rope comes in. Jumping rope will relax your whole body. Also, sometimes if you're too stiff hitting the bag, what you want to do is you want to get tired first, because you get tired, then you start concentrating more on technique rather than just run up there and boom, 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 boom. That's where the advantage comes in. You've got to listen to your body. You've got to figure out.
Okay, that's actually an interesting point he made there. A lot of people say you shouldn't you shouldn't train past the point of where you actually are feeling fatigue. Because you'll start making technical mistakes. But what he's saying here is pre-exhaust yourself a little bit before you doing the bag work. So that you're forced to rely on your technique to actually manage it. This is actually a really interesting point because, theoretically speaking, doing something with proper technique should mitigate, your exhaustion, because you're putting all of the work into doing something throughout your entire body. Such as like the cross, for instance. You might just lean into it, rotate with just your midsection, and punch with basically just your back and triceps. But if you have to use your entire body, you're pushing out the back leg, rotating with your hips, push in with your psoas muscle, twisting at the obliques, tensing at the lats, extending at the triceps, and clenching at the forearms. Simultaneously, with it. So it does spread the fatigue throughout the entire body, and meaning it should mitigate fatigue, but also it makes it so you can't rely on strength, when you're trying to affect the bag. Like some people say you got to move the bag. Some people say you're not trying to move the bag, you're trying to dent it. But regardless, oftentimes what you will see is people, will just muscle through with with minimal technique. But because they're using minimal technique, they can get away with, with saying, get away with the idea of I'm hitting it right, and I'm moving the bag quite well, so that means I'm doing good. But pre-exhaust them, and they do the same thing. They get almost nothing because because that minimal technique isn't backed by the strength, meaning that minimal technique is no longer enough, and they have to actively use proper technique for it. So that's actually a very good, very interesting thing he said, and I do agree with this. It's just not something I would do myself, just because I'm in the school of I don't work well under fatigue.
Ways to improve your skill. If your skill level is here, you want to get it up here, you've got to listen to your body. It'll tell you how to do this. If you're too tight, then you're not going to improve. If you find that once you get tired, you're not relying on the strength, you start relying on technique. That's what you got to do. You got to walk into your workout room tired. That way you can start advancing in your levels. I'm sure you didn't buy this video to watch me stand here and talk the whole time. You want to see what I actually do. So I guess it's time to get involved in this. Again, I'm not Muhammad Ali. I can't jump rope like Muhammad Ali can. He's probably one of the greatest athletes to ever walk on the planet. I'm just a big dumb hick, and I jump rope as good as I can. Sometimes I can go for 1 minute straight, 2 minutes straight. Sometimes I get my foot caught up. I have to start all over again. That's just part of life. Just because you fall down and you fumble doesn't mean that you have to stay down. Get back up. Keep going. That's the secret to being the champion. There you go. Get tired.
Not gonna lie, I'm more impressed by the fact that he can do this while talking. I can barely. Remember there have been times where I tried to explain how to do something while on video, while doing it, and I keep screwing up because it's so hard to do it while talking. Like when I got the reflex ball, and I did the video with that. Whew, boy, that was hard.
Right up, keep going. Nobody's watching, and there's nothing to be embarrassed about. We all make mistakes. The secret is not to get rattled. You get rattled in the workout room. Then when you get in the competition, you're going to get rattled there. Practice. Whatever you practice in the workout room is going to come through while you're competing. If you practice getting rattled, well, then what you're going to do is you're going to rattle during the competition. Now, like I said, I jump rope for the length of a whole CD, but I'm sure you don't want to sit here and watch me do that. So what we're going to do, we're going to advance on to the next move. I drink a lot of water while I'm working out. Constantly keep your body hydrated. If you get dehydrated, you can't think. You get tired. What you want to do is maintain a large amount of energy while you're working out. Andy Carter here, one of my 4 sparring partners, like I talked about.
Okay, you know this was back in the old days of the UFC because you just saw a guy in a gi walk up. I miss back in the day when people were allowed to wear their uniforms. Now everyone just wears shorts. It feels so boring.
These guys are fantastic. These guys are what make you a champion, is your workout partners. If you go in there and all you have is a throwing dummy or a piece of silly putty, you're not going to be a champion. You need good, strong, tough sparring partners who are going to take care of you. These guys don't allow me to get hurt. These guys take care of me at all times. That's what you need. You need good friends. Then these friends advance into becoming family.
Yeah.
To get loose, we generally stretch out. After we're done with the stretching out routine, somebody will come over and they'll let me know that stretching's over. They'll let me know by just crawling on top. And when they crawl on top, we just lightly roll around. We're rolling around, we're laughing, we're playing. Because this is something that you want to do. You want to make sure that you have a good time while you're working out. If you don't enjoy what you're doing, then it's going to be a miserable experience and you're going to get burnt out on it. What I'm doing here is I'm stretching out. I'm warming the muscles.
Okay, so he's using. Okay, so warm-ups for that. Yeah, for him when he actually gets to the gym to work with his guys, is stretching and then some light grappling. Notice I didn't say rolling because this is not Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Don Fry actually went on his said on his Toxic Masculinity podcast. I love the name of that podcast. He specifically said he doesn't use Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because it's just watered down judo. And I love that.
What I'm going to be getting into is doing this hard. Right now, I'm flexing all the muscles I can't flex while I'm stretching.
Speaking of stretching, better do some back tightening up.
This is what we're going to be doing seriously here in a few minutes. And it's not fun and games. It's a high stress situation. So now we have fun. We go half speed, probably not even half speed, probably just 10%. All we want to do is roll around. We want to get warm. We're not in here to beat each other up and hurt each other. We work as a unit. What you do also is you figure out your strengths and your weaknesses while you're just playing around. And he comes on top of me, we're just rolling around playing. I find out that I can't get a certain lock. I find out that I'm susceptible to a neck choke. Who knows? This is where you discover this stuff. This is where you say, hey, when we start working out, I want to concentrate on arm bars. I'm weak in the arm bar area. This stuff teaches you a lot. Not only does it warm you up, it also teaches you a lot mentally. It also teaches you a lot about your sparring partners. It teaches you, hey, I can trust these guys.
No comments there. That's just sensible things that he's saying.
Because if I'm just going real light and my partner decides that he's going to beat the UFC champion and hurt me, then I know I want to get rid of that guy.
Yeah, probably.
I constantly have people coming into the workout room. They want to work out with me. My guys will make the determination as to whether they do or not. I trust their judgment. They are my eyes and my ears when it comes to the workout situation.
It looks rough.
This is fun and games, people. This is what you're going to make it.
Never been good with the Grammy rolls.
This is light. Basically what we do here is we roll around generally for no more than 15 minutes. All right, again, we're trying to warm up the muscles, trying to warm up the ligaments and the tendons. Those get cold too. What we want to do is be ready when we have to get into the full phase of the workout. These guys are great. These guys are what make me a champion. If you ever see anybody, you can't win the Super Bowl with just one guy.
Yeah.
Also, as we're doing this, we're checking out our technique. See where I'm weak at, where I'm strong at. What I also have to do, there you go. Got a good arm bar. But I'm not cranking on this man. Me and this man are working together. Look, I can't go in and win the UFC if I get hurt.
Yeah.
I tap out all the time during the workout room. Andy makes me tap. Rich makes me tap. Sam, Randy, they all make me tap. Thing is that I can trust these guys not to continue on. There's a lot of superstars out there. Once you tap, they're going to keep applying the pressure. They're also going to go outside and run around, hey, I made Don Fry tap. These guys aren't going to do that. These guys aren't in there for that. These guys are in there to make sure that I can stay the champion, and they do a great job. Next phase of the routine is we decide who's going in the guard. We spend most of our
Okay, so they start with grappling. I assume that he was about to say something before I paused. That was poor timing.
time on the ground because 90% of the fights in the UFC end up on the ground.
Okay, and that's actually a good way of putting that. The whole philosophy of 90% of fights go to the ground is actually a deeply flawed statistic that the Gracies took out of context as a promotional thing, because that whole 90% of fights go to the ground thing was actually a statistic for law enforcement, because they deliberately try to bring the fight to the ground so that they have the advantage and can properly restrain the person. But in the UFC, wrestlers run rampant in the UFC, and then and heck, to this day, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys run rampant in the UFC. Of course, I think the wrestlers are a bigger threat than the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys. And I think the judo and sambo guys are even bigger threats than the wrestlers. But yeah, I'd say it's fair to say that 90% of fights in the UFC will go to the ground at some point. Unless you got a fight between two strikers. But it's very rare to have a fight between strikers these days. I mean, it would be more common back in those days just because there were more specialists who didn't cross-train back in those days, but you did occasionally. But heck, Don Fry here was the first well-rounded fighter in the UFC. But okay, so that's not.
Also, I don't spend a lot of time standing up and sparring because I'm not going to hurt my people. I have a heavy bag for that. I have a guy who works mitts for that also. I'm real happy with the way Danny Diaz works my mitts for me. He does a good job. Those are focus pads, hand mitts. He'll move around. I'll follow around. I'll hit that. I'll hit the heavy bag. There's no need to go around beating up your sparring partners.
Okay, that's actually very interesting there. He's saying he doesn't spar much because he has a good person holding mitts for him. He has a heavy bag. Yeah, and he doesn't like to hurt the guys he works with. Now, I will say light sparring is definitely a thing, but that's an interesting thing. Yeah, interesting conclusion there. And okay, so Don Fry didn't spar much in his professional career, but he's one of the best fighters in MMA history. So, I think that's a pretty strong argument against sparring being essential, especially him and Muhammad Ali, famous, weren't big proponents of sparring for actual skill development. So, an argument can be made that sparring isn't nearly as important as people make it out to be. So, I think that take that as you will. But let's get back into the actual talk.
And he's in the guard. I work the guard. I work the top position. What happens here also is Andy and I will probably go for anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute sprint. After that, say Rich will come in. Generally, what they do, sometimes they'll be nice to let me come up, and then Rich will hop down in the guard. A lot of the times, Andy will hold me down. Rich then comes in and cheap shots me. These guys, it's a lot of fun we have, but it's also serious work.
Okay,
we're down here working. Again, I'm not going to punch my guy. We will simulate. I'll say a shot to the rib. I may say hammer strike to the head. I may say headbutt, but I never make contact. If you ever go into a dojo and you see two guys on the ground, one guy's on top of him, punching away, grab your gear and get out of there. Find someplace else, because that sensei or whoever's running the dojo is an idiot.
Okay, I'm just going to say this right now. I instantly have more respect for Don Fry because he's using the terms dojo and sensei first and foremost. Yeah, but on on the topic of what he's saying, that is pretty true. If you're going full contact ground and pound in sparring, that's dumb. But there's a fine line between just simulating it, saying what you're doing, and going full contact. I remember in my jiu-jitsu classes, we would do ground and pound drills where we would throw it, but we wouldn't make contact. I would go kind of like, and people always hated it because I would move my hands really fast because, I came into jiu-jitsu after 7 years of karate. Of course, my hands are going to be fast. When it comes to actually hitting people.
I don't want to be involved in anything like that. Safety first. If this man breaks my arm, I can't compete. I can't make a living.
Okay, that was a good escape.
Again, simulate elbows.
Those are illegal.
I'll simulate knees.
Also illegal.
He taps, I stop. This will go on for about a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever we decide. We decide at the beginning of the workout, okay, we're going to go 1 minute sprints, 2 minute sprints, 5 minute sprints, what have you. Then Rich comes in. Andy's in the gi. Rich comes in just shorts and a t-shirt. What I want to do is get a different look on all of my workout partners. Sam will work out without a t-shirt. That way I have the sweat situation going with Sam. Here I have the gi. I have to learn how to wrestle with a man with a gi, grab hold of the man, and not get caught. If I grab hold of Andy, I stretch out, and he armbarred me. All I got to do is have enough sense, grab hold of this, let go at a certain point. You got to know when to let go of the gi.
Okay. Going to make up the other point.
Simulate the hammer strikes. Simulate the rib shot.
Okay, it doesn't seem like he's going to bring this up, but okay, so he's bringing up good points. The gi definitely changes things, But it's not just a matter of if you're gripping it, he can use your grip on it to drag you out. But also, the gi adds an extra layer of friction. So if you, so for instance, say he's got you in a half guard. That's where he has one leg locked. With his, but while you're trying to escape. Usually this happens when you're passing a guard, but he catches one of your legs and is trying to hold you in position so you can't get mount. If you're just wearing shorts, you can usually just kind of slip your leg through. But if you're wearing a gi, that extra layer of friction keeps you from slipping through, or even muscling through if you're not strong enough. It makes you have to rely more on the technique, which is why, so many no-gi, jiu-jitsu competitors still train in the gi, even though, they're competing in no-gi. Because, training in the gi makes you better.
Now go to your guard.
Okay, new guys coming in.
Now, someone go, mate, break.
Okay, now I'll actually talk about the sprinting concept. All right, so grappling with sprints, where you have the partner switch out after each sprint, but you stay in, is genuinely great. It allows you to go, it allows you to constantly be able to keep the pressure going to boost your endurance for grappling. But because you're switching out partners every round, that means each round, you're facing someone who has no level of fatigue. Of course, as you rotate through a couple of rounds, the fatigue will start to set in for those guys. But generally, since there's 4 of them, let's say you're going to go 10 rounds. That means you'll have everyone going twice and then 2 guys going a third time. And each person will have at bare minimum like a 5-minute break. Because of the other people going through. Genuinely speaking, this is a perfect way to maximize your conditioning. While preventing your opponents from fatiguing, so that they don't start. So that they have no fatigue for you to capitalize on, or even just use to your advantage in some way. It's honestly similar. Honestly, it's kind of similar to the 100-man kumite in Kyokushin, except that's full contact and this noticeably isn't.
Get him, Cal. Get him, Cal. No.
Okay, and notice, each person's different. And it's not just what they're wearing, because one guy's in a gi, one guy's in the shirts and a short. So's this guy, but they're also different sizes. And that's great. Work with people who are different sizes so that you can get better at fighting people with different characteristics. The current best judoka in the world, Shohei Ono, does that exact thing. He'll grapple with guys who are heavyweights so that he can work on countering strength. He'll work with guys who are smaller than him to work with the wily ones. Who are quick, agile, and generally able to kind of just work around technique. That's more or less what he's doing here, but notice he's got a couple pretty big guys. Admittedly, judo generally seems to attract the big guys. So that might have something to do with it. But this is great.
We start all over again. Mate, break.
Okay, he mentioned having 4 training partners. I think the 4th one is holding the camera because we only see 3 guys right now. Okay, that was a really good way to get back in control.
Great. That's right. Get him, Rich.
Okay, that's that half guard that I mentioned earlier.
Mate. Get him, Cal. Get him. Get his arm. That's right.
Okay, and I do like how how they switch out without restarting positions. Generally, if when you restart a round, in grappling, you start from neutral position. But this is usually starting him from a disadvantaged position, forcing him to practice escapes. And that's good because as good as Don Fry is, there's a chance that if he doesn't get put in a disadvantaged position from the start, he might not get put in a disadvantaged position, therefore meaning he doesn't get to practice his escape, and therefore if he gets caught with one in a match, boom, suddenly he's done for.
You see how we keep fresh horses in all the time, so it pushes Mr. Fry.
Dear God, we're hearing one of them talk.
Mate, water.
What you see is we will do that probably for anywhere from a half hour to an hour. And then what we're going to do is we're going to move on to some drills.
Okay, let's comment on that before we look into these drills. Okay, so about a half hour to an hour of just constant wrestling. That would be killer on the conditioning for any normal person. For the average person, that would probably constitute more than an entire workout. So without question, that alone means you have great conditioning. So, but since this goes from the warm-up directly to this with no break, no space in between of just, okay, finish stretching, warm up with wrestling, continue wrestling for about half hour to an hour. That's genuinely pretty good there. So let's look into these drills that he's doing. Like he mentioned, he doesn't really tend to spar because he has other training methods. So let's see what we got here.
My partners will line up and we'll go through a sprawl drill.
Okay, sprawl drill.
Go this way.
Okay, now for the people who are unfamiliar, sprawling is considered the basic technique to stop a takedown. Yeah, where it's basically just the put your hips back, put your legs back, prevent them from grabbing your legs or hips. Use your chest to just kind of push them down. Generally, you kind of grab them around the midsection. In some cases, maybe you just push them down at the shoulders, and from there you might just circle around. Let's see, but that's the technique. Let's see how this drill goes.
What I'm doing here, these guys are down. These guys shoot at my legs. I get probably about arm's length away. I have preparation for this. These guys take a shot. I sprawl back. I then move on to Rich. After Rich does it, I then move on to Cal. After Cal does it, I go back. Then I do it again. Probably do this about 5 or 6 times. After that, I'll start running.
Okay, 5 to 6 times for that. So there's three of them, but he says there's 4, so let's use 4 for the metric here. That's 20 to 24 sprawls. Yeah, with partners. Yeah, there, and then he runs.
My workout room. Workout room's a lot bigger than this, and we run around for probably about a minute to 2 minutes. At that point, I have Rainy Martinez, who is a former Navy SEAL, who runs just for the sake of running. I don't know, around 9 miles a day or something like that. I gotta try.
That's actually very impressive. Like one of my teachers, he's kind of a local celebrity because everyone recognizes him because he's constantly running around town. And some people even call him the Running Man. He runs 6 miles a day. So, I mean, anyone running more than that on a daily basis to me is just crazy.
Keep up with.
But the military guys are just a different breed, and he is too because he was in the Air Force. But
Then he's my pacer.
like I mentioned earlier, pacer. Having a pacer is a godsend when you're running, and so is a treadmill, to be honest.
Honestly, I'm not built like that, so it's hard. So he pushes me. After that, I come in, I hit the dummy. The throwing dummy will be on the ground. Now that's where I work my elbows. Work my elbows, my knees, my headbutts. I don't work it with my partner. Like I said before, that's stupid. Have you ever seen anybody do that? Grab your stuff and get out. It doesn't make any sense to do anything like that.
Okay, if we're talking, okay, he said he does it with the throwing dummies, so maybe he's just talking about doing that with a partner on the ground, because yeah, knees to a partner on the ground is stupid, but if we're talking just like maybe in clinch sparring, throwing knees to the stomach, I think that's fine. I mean, generally, I do the thing that you see Thai boxers doing, where you actually hit with the inner thigh instead of the knees during it, so you don't actually cause any unnecessary pain during training, because that can mess up the later drills. But
in a position. So we were fighting. I know this man's going to shoot. So I get in my wrestling stance position. Shoot. I sprawl back. As I sprawl back, you see I come down with his back and his head.
Okay, that's an interesting way to sprawl. It seems slightly different than the classical sprawling technique. I guess he modified it a bit more towards MMA from the basic wrestling one. Or maybe it's the judo version, because I actually didn't learn how to sprawl in judo because, I learned the modern version. Halfway modern. We don't really follow the Olympic rule set, but we more or less kind of keep to it. Yeah, in drilling. Which is weird. I don't get why we do that. And of course, in karate, we actually keep one leg kind of forward because we want to keep one foot on the ground. Yeah, so that we can stand up at a moment's notice.
Boom. I want to control this man.
Okay, he kind of did it there, but he went sideways with it.
Boom. I control this man. Now I go back. We try and do this as quickly as possible. I have 1 minute to do this drill. We will have a set number of times to do this drill. I have to complete it within 1 minute. As you see, increases your heart rate, increases your breathing. Does not take long.
Yeah, I mean, it's basic. I mean, the way he's performing this it's basically kind of like prolonged basic plyometric exercises, but he does it in a way that contextualizes it to the actual training he's supposed to be doing anyway. Now, I actually can't think of a time where I saw Don Frye sprawl in a fight, because usually he's either committing hyperaggression, and immediately going for a takedown, or wait, did he fail a sprawl in his fight with Mark Coleman? Okay, I can't remember properly off the top of my head, but yeah, good for endurance, of course, but this is more of a technical drill, which honestly I quite like, and I might actually put into the curriculum for my style of karate, because like I mentioned, we have the sprawl, and this seems like a pretty good drill, so I think I might take it.
After that point, one of my partners goes and gets the dummy.
Okay, that is a very nice dummy. I wish they still made him like they did back then.
I now start my running routine. I'm running around the whole workout area. Like I said, 1 minute, 2 minutes, whatever the current time is. Somebody yells time. I advance to the dummy. Get in the mount position. Boom. Work the elbows. Go to the side mount. Boom. Work the elbows. Pass the arm. I pass the arm. Now I'm rolling up for the knees.
That's illegal these
Coming
days.
with elbows too. Again,
Also illegal these days.
while I'm working out, I'm practicing lowering my weight. Let the man carry my weight. Boom, 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 boom. Arm bar.
That's it. That's actually a pretty good arm bar.
Ribs.
You don't see many of those these days.
Head. I'm keeping my weight down. Working this. Again, arm bar. Whatever I see, I use. Again, as in the side mount position, I'm attacking the man. Next situation. And then go to my running again.
Okay, so that was
I'll
maybe
run
a technical
another
drill.
1 minute. Another
He's
2
running in
minutes.
between so that he keeps
Whatever the eternal time is.
going. Yeah, while the techniques get out.
Keep it up until they yell time. Once they yell time, we're going to begin our kick drill.
Okay.
Again, 1 minute, 2 minute, whatever the determined time is. I want to prepare myself. I want to make sure my partner's ready. I just don't say time, run over, start kicking the man. I make sure my partner's ready. I get my stance. This is where you can slow it down. This is where you can think about it. You don't want to run over, just jump, kick, end up getting hurt, doing it wrong, getting out of position. You want to line this up. What I'm doing is I'm working technique now. Does me no good to come over here, kick the man wrong, hit his elbow with my foot. I'm going to line up
An elbow.
the way I want to be lined up. I got to relax. I have to get a certain number of kicks within this 2 minute time.
Wait, here, just let me. Okay, sorry. It looked like he was kicking with his foot for a second. You see,
Get my kick.
I'm a proponent for kicking with the foot, but not with low kicks. I say use the shin for low kicks. But okay, this is a standard drill training. Yeah, drill training both accuracy with hitting your low kicks, but also power generation with them. Because what good is a low kick if you're not going to do damage? Everyone in who competes in MMA, especially who's if they do a style that has low kicks, is going to have taken a low kick to the point of where they're resilient. They develop a resilience to low kicks. Heck, these days boxers handle low kicks pretty well, especially since they realize they don't have to technically check low kicks. They can just lean into them.
Again, begin my running.
Okay, still running in between drills.
Okay, now somebody yells time. I decide it's time to take a break. Go over, grab your water. It's not a commercial. I'll try and cover up the water so nobody thinks, oh, hey, he's advertising for someone during his video. That's cheap. I'm not doing that. I'm trying to convince you of make sure you have a large amount of water. Gatorade, Powerade, whatever it is. You have to stay hydrated. If you get dehydrated, you can't concentrate. You want to stay fresh.
No comment.
Drink lots of water. I always take breaks. I drink a lot of water. I probably carry about 5 or 6 water bottles with me, large water bottles, and I go through them every workout. Sit down. Talk to your guys. Your people will tell you, okay, look, you look real good on the sprawls, but you look real weak on the kick. So then we say, okay, fine. I got to concentrate more on the technique on my kick.
Yeah, funnily enough, that is actually more or less what I would say, because his sprawls looked great, but his kicks looked, from my perspective, a little, they were a little off. Maybe it's because he was talking during them, but I mean, I'm not saying I can do better. Quite frankly, I think my low kicks are pretty good, but this is Don Fry. He's the kind of guy who takes your legs off.
Say, I'm not pivoting properly on my foot. I'm not turning my hip into it. What is it? Say, my hand's coming down, my hand's staying down as I come back. Boom, boom. That's what your partners are for. Your partners are there to tell you about your weaknesses. You have to allow them to be able to dissect your skills and tell you. You have to listen to your partners. They're the best asset that you have going. Again, drink lots of water. If you feel like you're working too hard, sit down and take a break. There's nobody there telling you, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. Just like Don Fry. I'm lucky. This is my job. I don't have an 8-hour job, and then I go to the workout room. This is all I do. God's blessed me in that area. If you're not blessed in that area, you have to take care of your job first. This is just a hobby for you. This is just to work out. So don't come in here, don't watch the video, and don't have a heart attack. We don't want anything like that happening. Listen to your body. Relax. Enjoy this. Again, now I've recuperated. My heart rate's down. My breathing's down. That's what you need to do, because you're trying to shorten the time of recuperation. Get your heart rate up to a certain point. Now you want to make sure it comes back down. Say at first it takes 5 minutes for it to come down. What you want to do is work for 4:45, 4:30, 4:15, 4. Eventually it'll be calmed down back to 30 seconds. That's where I'm at. And I'm lucky. And the only reason I'm at that point is because this is my job. Andy?
Okay, no comment there. What he said, just kind of self-explanatory. And by that, I mean he explained it himself. Nothing really to comment there.
In the octagon, the reason why I'm looking for a 30-second recuperation time is because if Andy and I are up here fighting, we go down to the ground, I'm in his guard, I may want to take a breather. When I take a breather, I tuck my arms, I tuck my head. That way, I'm not leaving my hands out here to get broke. I'm not standing here taking a breather, exposing myself to a punch. I'm burying my face down. I'm protecting, doing whatever I have to do to catch my breather, to reduce my heart rate, reduce my breathing. When I feel refreshed, now I resume my attack. Also, at the same time, this man's relaxing. This man's heart rate and breathing is going down. So what you have to do is hope that your conditioning is better than your opponent's. That's where I'm lucky. That's where I can outdo a lot of my opponents because, again, I don't have a regular job. This is all I do. So I'm lucky enough to concentrate on training all day long. Continuing with the workout, I'm refreshed. I took my break. I had my water. I sat down. I talked with my guys. I said, okay, what do you all want to do next? What do I feel like doing next? We discussed this situation. This is a team effort. The team doesn't make the individual. The individuals make the team. That's what I have. I have great individuals. Like I said, I'm the one who's lucky enough to be out in the spotlight. These guys are doing all the hard work. These guys are dedicating their time after work to come to help me. What we're going to do here now is we're going to work from the clinch. We're in a clinch situation. What I want to do is I'm going to try to get away. Whatever it takes. He starts up. Simulate knees. Break out. He comes up. Stimulate knees. Scoot out. And
Okay, this makes sense. Yeah, his method of clinch fighting, training for clinch fighting is to break up the clinch because he wants to stay out of the place where he has a position where his opponent might have an advantage. He isn't personally trying to go for a clinch, so if he ends up in a clinch, he wants out of it. Makes sense.
he now comes in. And he grabs. Now what I do? Simulate knees. Arm drag. Now I'm behind him. Now we've done our mat work. So if I want, we may go to the mat. Once we reach the mat, we come back up. That part of the workout's been completed. What we're doing is, boom, duck under, go to the mat. I've accomplished my drill. Now we come back up. Now we start all over again. And he gets the clinch. I'm trying to get my hips back. Cause space. Boom. That drill's over. Now Cal comes in. Again, I rotate my workout partners. These guys are fatiguing me, but yet they're staying fresh. This way, they remain injury-free. Cal comes in. Cal gets the clinch. Arm jack. We go down. Come back up. Cal gets the clinch.
Okay, that was a pretty good Ichimata.
Cal gets the clinch. Always let your partner have the move, have the position. This way, I'm get trained to get out of the position. Grab the wrist. Arm drag. Go behind. Now we go down. Fresh horse. Break through. I'm fighting. Using everything I can. Suck up. Boom. And a drill. If I get a good throw like that. Knocks the wind out of Rich. Rich can walk away. Now Andy comes in. What you want to do is you want to remain fresh. Make sure your guys don't get hurt. Again, take a break. Get some water. Talk to your opponents. How do I feel?
Good.
Feel good. Where's my weaknesses?
Hands. You got to turn with the hands.
There. That's what these guys are here for. Start over again. I've got a drink of water. I'll let the water settle on my stomach. Now we start again. Andy gets the position. Why did I give him the clinch? Because that's where we're working. We're working the clinch position. Does me no good. Say, okay, Andy, we're going to work the clinch position. Wrestle. I don't ever let him get into it.
Yeah. Perfect reasoning.
I have to give him that move. Now he's in that position. Now you notice how I pop my hips back. Lock up. And he's locked up. Now, I know Andy's shorter than I am. I know that his arms are not as long as my torso. I step back, breaking his hold. Boom. Go to my move. What I've done is I've created the distance that is required. Clinch is a tight position. He's here. He's got me. He's got the advantage. What do I have to do? I have to get out. How do I get out? I create distance. Mm-hmm. Cal comes in. These guys stay fresh. These guys take my falls. That way I don't get hurt. But I don't cheap shot these guys. Like I said, when these guys get hurt, boom, that lessens my army of men. Right now I have an army of 3 guys. Cal gets hurt. I'm down to 2. Andy gets hurt. I'm down to 1. Rich, fantastic partner, fantastic athlete, but he can't train as long as I can. Why? He has an 8-hour job. Yeah. Second reason, I've trained to work out with 3, 4, 5 guys. Rich is trained to come in every 4th or 5th guy. Therefore, my conditioning's up higher. So therefore, I have the advantage, just like a fight. Rich and I are equal opponents. The determining factor will be conditioning. Now, because I've been training against 4 or 5 guys, obviously I have the advantage. I'm down to 1 workout partner. What happens when Rich comes in, Rich gets hurt. Boom, I'm sitting against the wall. How am I going to win a UFC if I have nobody to work out with? It's impossible.
Shadow box for 3 hours.
All right, again, what you're seeing is a very short time period. Andy and Rich and Cal are coming in for probably 5 or 10 seconds, 15 seconds at the most during this video. What I would be doing is working out with them 1, 2, 3 minutes at a time. That's how this rotation process works. We go for a minute at a time with Andy. Boom, Rich comes in. Boom, Cal comes in. We're condensing this so you can see what the workout is like. But I actually work out for a lot longer. That's why I have such a good conditioning.
Yeah, no remarks there. Yeah, I mean, we've already covered this. Yeah, multiple.
Sometimes what we'll do is we'll work throws. The hard part about working throws is you have to find the amount of power to do the throw properly without injuring your partner. Even if you don't injure him, your partner can only take a certain amount of throws during the night. Say I grab Andy.
Okay, I will say, generally speaking, as long as your guy's good enough with break falls, with break falls, he should be able to handle handle throws. For the entire length of training. Of course, it does wear at your hands, so be careful with that. Yeah, I'm not used to sitting still for this long. But yeah, so what he's saying is mostly right. Just, yeah, when it comes to throws, always be sure to break fall and know when your hands need to stop taking the falls.
I start throwing him full speed, bam, bam, bam. After 5 throws, he's going to get mad and he's going to walk out. He may be tired. If he gets too bruised up, he can't help train me. He sits out for the next night. What am I doing? I'm down another workout partner. Again, this is a little bit like a science to find out how to do this properly without beating up your partners. We're going to be here. Sometimes I'll just practice half the move. Say I'm going to do Osoto Gare. I'll practice pulling down. I'll practice punching. I'll practice my footwork. But I won't go completely through.
Okay, that is actually a very common training method in judo where, judo, if I remember correctly, I think the term is kumikata. I could be wrong on that. My Japanese isn't that good. But basically, you do every part of the throw up to, okay, if it's a lifting throw, you do the lift, but you don't do the throw. With this, I think it's exactly what he said. You do it up to putting the leg in position. Usually, what you do is you rep that out. Say you do 4 of them, and then on the 5th one, you finish the throw. As a way of massively repping out the technique, while conserving time, energy, and shortening the number of times you have to actually take the fall.
With the throw, what I'll do, I'll practice the footwork. I'll practice this maybe for a minute. Rich will then come in. Rich comes in. I practice a different move.
Shoulder throw.
Practice my footwork. This is part of the conditioning.
Okay, generally speaking, with a throw, with a lifting throw, you will do the lift as well during this training. But of course, this is a pretty big guy he's working with right now, and he is already pretty fatigued at this point during the day. Maybe he just doesn't want to put the extra strain on his knees and back. I can understand that much, at least.
It's also technique. You've got to have this. Calvin comes in. Cal comes in. I practice this. Grab the wrist. Push it down. Come around behind. Minute at the piece. Man, I'm tired. Come over. Get my drink of water. Rich pulls the dummy in.
Okay, getting the dummy out.
I go back to my run.
And again.
What this is doing is keep my body warm, keeping it loose. When I run, I allow my muscles to bounce. I'm not running around like this. I'll get burnt out. Let your muscles flop. Relax. I hate running. It's not something to enjoy.
Agreed.
Sometimes it's a lot better than getting in here, having these guys kick my butt. I take my time. Boom. Time's up. Back on the dummy. Again. Bam. Bam. Block it with the elbow. Bam. Knees. Block the head with the knee. Elbow. Shift my weight. Coming down here. Arm bar. Ribs. Rib. Reason I switch. You only throw so many elbows on the right side. You get tired. You only throw so many knees. You get tired. So you have to attack the body now. You have to go to the left arm. You have to go to the left knee. Why? Because I'm trying to get a continuous workout. If I come here and I get tired, I start just doing things halfway, it does me no good.
True.
What I've got to do is
And of course, there is also something to be said about if you only work the elbows and knees on one side, you'll develop muscular imbalances, specifically in your lats because he's doing 12 to 6 elbows, and your obliques on the right side because that's the primary muscle you're utilizing when you're throwing that knee from that position because you're crunching the body into itself with that rotation.
After maintain a certain level for this workout to be any good. Like I said, if I come over here, I get tired. Well, it's time to take a break. Listen to your body. Don't just go through the motions. Just go through the motions. You're not learning anything. You're not gaining anything. What you've got to do, every time you leave that gym, every time you leave that workout room, you have to.
Okay, give me a moment here. Have my back starting to lock up, so just going to crack that real quick. Other side. Okay. That's better. Sorry about that.
To leave better than you came in, better than the day before. That way you know that you're achieving something. Again, I've got my dummy workout. I get it out of there. The guys do all the work for me. They clear the material. Why? It's not degrading to them. These guys work with me. They don't work for me.
Yeah.
These guys are here to help me out. Andy then comes over again. Don't kick with this knee.
Okay.
We talk.
Okay, more low kicks.
I come over here.
Okay, now he's working the other side. Okay, we've all been there. Yeah, we've all been there when we're holding pads for someone else. Yeah, we put it on. Yeah, they hit it once, and then we stop them because we realized we put the straps on the wrong way. Yeah, for the particular thing we're supposed to be blocking with the shield. Can't imagine having to do it for someone like Don Fry, though. I mean, worst person I've ever had to hold a shield for was this one guy. Brown belt. Yeah, weight over 300 pounds. Guy hit really hard. Yeah, shield slid halfway off my arm when he hit it. Elbow slammed right into my ribs. It was bad. So you always double check beforehand.
Rich is watching my footwork. Rich tells me if my technique's good. Andy tells me if the power's there. That's what these guys are here for. Cal can tell me, hey, your foot's not turning. Your arms aren't coming up. Each guy is there for a certain reason. Each guy pulls together. But I'm the monster that these Dr. Frankensteins have created.
Okay. And with that, we at least know that Don Fry read the original novel because Frankenstein was the doctor, not the monster. And he just said it properly, so that's interesting.
I'm just the stew that the chefs have all pinched together. That's it, folks. All this work, all this success that I get is because of these guys' hard work. Now, I would be nowhere without these guys. I'll be the first to tell you that. Again, you start your running.
Yeah.
I'm staying loose. I just kicked the bag for a minute, 2 minutes, what have you. My legs are tight. Now I'm loosening my legs. We're jogging around. So it's time. Now it's time to go back into the wrestling mode. We'll work on the ground again. Because why? I'm tired of standing up, Andy. I want to go down.
Okay, we'll do mat work.
Now we're going to do mat work. Why? Because we work together as a team. Go down. I'm tired, so I get in Andy's guard. That would work. Same leg punches.
Okay, those weren't punches. Those were palm strikes, which I actually like quite a lot.
I got my move.
French horse.
Punch, punch. Punch. Pass the guard. I'm on top. Got my choke. Next guy comes in. I didn't get up. Cal takes advantage. Cal's a nice guy, so he rolls me over to his guard. Punch. Pass him. Come around. I was saying, well, now we're the elbow. Stop him up.
Okay, this, genuinely speaking, there's not much I can say here. This is just judo. Well, you might call it wrestling too, but, to me, this is just judo. And, I have some judo in my background, but it's not really prevalent to what this video series is supposed to be about. So, trying not to go too into it. But
Go to an arm bar. Again, we would do that 1, 2, 3 minute goes per person. Again, I generally have 5 or 6 guys doing this. So that's a 15-minute routine right there.
okay, another 15 minutes of wrestling.
We say, "Jeez, I'm tired." Get some water. Take a break.
Okay, so this means so far he's been wrestling for anywhere from 45 minutes to almost an hour and a half, on a daily basis. Okay.
You got to sit down. You got to start thinking. You got to discuss what I do wrong.
Posted your arm when you got tired. Go on.
Got caught in an arm bar.
It is generally wrong.
And he could have broke it off. Boom. That'd be it.
I mean, the skin would hold it in place.
If that happens in competition, it'd be all over. Thank you.
Probably.
So that's why I have these guys. These guys are here to tell me when I get sloppy. If you get sloppy, call time, sit down, have some water. Think about what you're doing. Next routine is the heavy bag routine. What I do is I wear.
Okay, so we're finally on to a new training thing. God, we spent so much time on wrestling. Now I have something to talk about.
Real heavy gloves. The reason I wear heavy gloves is because of hand speed and also protect my hands against the bag. When I get into the octagon, we have light gloves. After fighting with these, practicing with these, and you put on the light gloves, you're a lot faster. You hit a lot quicker. That's the key. Speed kills. That's the whole.
Sorry. My sensei says that phrase religiously, speed kills. But yeah, so he mentioned that primarily it's about protecting his hands, but also for hand speed. But while there is truth to both of those, if you don't condition your hands to punch bare knuckle, you're going to break them if you don't wear gloves. But also beyond that, wearing heavy gloves while hitting the bag can improve the speed of your hands. But there is also one other thing. It increases your endurance for punching because, if you get used to doing all of your punching with an extra pound of weight on both hands, that's going to make your body's going to be used to that. So when you're wearing 4 ounces with your gloves instead of 16 ounces, you're going to be able to handle it significantly better. Which is why you'll see people these days wearing weighted boxing gloves that weigh multiple pounds. Pounds rather than just 16 ounces.
Situation with this thing. Also, I hit this thing for probably about an hour during the day. Again, I get up, I do my run. I go back, grab something to eat, go to bed. Get up, either lift weights or hit the bag. Sometimes I'll lift weights and hit the bags in the same day. Because after that, I go back, eat, take a nap, get up, drive an hour and a half to the gym, and I roll around with my buds. Boom. After that, I go home. Now, working this bag, not only you develop power, but you also develop the speed that's necessary. Cal's going to come in.
Okay, so he's saying that he's using the bag to develop power and speed. A lot of people say that you're supposed to use the heavy bag for technical work. And while that's certainly a thing, there are plenty of fighters who say that they only really use the heavy bag as a tool for development of power. I think the most famous example of this would be how Bruce Lee wrote about that in his book, The Art of Expressing the Human Body. okay, technically he didn't write it in that book. The book was written after his death based on his training notes. But that's the philosophy that Bruce Lee had for the heavy bag. It was strictly for developing power. It appears Don Frye is the same way.
I was going to hold the bag so that we don't have to chase the bag.
Okay, another interesting thing here. He's having someone hold the bag. A lot of people, will say never have someone hold the bag because you want it to move around so that you move around with the bag. Yeah, working positioning, footwork, all that. But note, he said he only uses the bag for developing power generation with his strikes. Meaning, he really wouldn't want the bag to be moving around because that just slows down his training. Now, of course, some people, say they like the bag to move so they can practice stopping the bag when it swings back at them, like they do in Muay Thai gyms. And I honestly do really like that training myself. I would do it more often if my bag was hanging and not on a stand, but yeah, my guess is, the main reason he isn't worried so much about positioning is either because he does a lot of mitt work as well, or because he doesn't do much at a range that necessitates a lot of positioning work, because he fights it more at a close to mid range. And because he's using much more than his punching for it.
This is also a very heavy bag, hard, so I'm not going to hit it hard. I just got back from having my hand operated on. I broke it against Tank Abbott or against Gary Goodridge. We don't know. We haven't decided which one it was.
Remember, he was doing multiple fights in a day for the UFC, not just one fight and then call it a day. The old guys were crazy.
Boom. When I hit this is a technique factor. As you see, I'm loading up with the power punch. When I hit the power punch, it's a straight punch. See my hips move. I pivot on my feet. I just don't come in here, punch like this. This is a technique. This is a technique drill. It's also a conditioning drill. You do this for an hour. It's going to wear on you. I protect myself at all times. As you see, even just standing here talking to you. When I throw my power punch, my left hand doesn't drop. A lot of people punch like this. There's no reason to punch like this. That's sloppy fighting. What you want to do is protect yourself at all times. You see, when I twist my body twists fully to that. This shoulder's protecting this side of my chin. I'm using my whole body on the punch. It's a straight punch. When you're punching, you look down the barrel of a gun. Again, with the jab. It's a straight jab. Notice I turn at the end of it. I remain relaxed. When I'm going to do this, I don't crunch up at the shoulders. I lift my hands at the elbows. If you lift your hands from the shoulders, what you're going to do is you're going to limit your power. You're also going to burn out. You want to remain relaxed. Again, this is a thinking situation. You come up, you lift your hands at the elbows. Get your feet underneath of you. Know where your balance is. You're fighting through a window. You don't want to lean through the window. You just want to punch through the window. Exhale on your punch.
Okay, he hits pretty hard.
Now, I'm throwing one jab at a time. You don't want to get into a routine. Jab, 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 punch. You've got to vary the routine. If I come up here, I just throw one jab at a time. That's what's going to happen in a fight. What I want to do is I want to change the situation. I'll come in, throw two jabs, throw three jabs.
Okay.
Maybe I'll switch hands. Throw one jab. Throw three jabs. Notice when I throw my jab, I'm not going down here. I come back, protect myself. straight punches. You don't get any power looping these things. You don't get any power just punching with the arm. I'm stepping into these punches.
Yeah.
Bob, weave. Practice what you're going to be doing in the fight. Duck hunter. Boom, boom. Shot to the ribs. Shot to the head.
Yeah.
Not everything has to be a power. Relax. Work on your speed. Now, also, you have the luxury in the UFC using an elbow. I come under, pop, pop, pop. Train your full arsenal. Sometimes I'll even throw a kick if I want to. But generally, I throw a kick because I get lazy. I get tired. Your arms get tired.
Yeah,
It happens to everybody.
Yeah, we've all been there. Yeah, been there. Knowing we don't want, our shoulders start to get tired. Tired, so we start lowering our hands. But we don't want to get, but we have to keep doing something. With it. So we start using our, start kicking, trying to keep it at a longer range. So that we can get more away with lowering our hands. Like my general rule is if I'm say more than 4 feet away from you, I don't even keep a guard. If I'm if I'm 3 to 4 feet away, I keep kind of like this. I keep a low guard. Here, I keep a low guard, kind of like this. Just, so that I can use my hand fighting patterns. But if I'm in close range, I keep more of a tighter guard like this. Because if I'm at the range of where nothing can come to where you can't attack me with anything that I won't see coming, well before, so I can defend, I don't need to be fatiguing my shoulders by keeping a guard. If I'm at the point of where you can close the distance quickly enough to where I might have to do something, I'll put minimal effort into having a guard. But if you're within range of where you need, range of where I'm at immediate threat, then I keep it to where I am immediately able to defend. Same principle as him keeping. Same principle as him kicking to avoid having to use his hands. Due to fatigue.
Don't take it personal. Don't say, "Oh my God, I can't do this." Hey, it happens. You throw a kick, you relax, walk away, take a breather if you're getting lazy, if you're getting sloppy. You don't want to get sloppy. Listen to your body. Again, right here. I'm stepping into this jab. Again. Come back out. Protecting myself at all times. I come in with that power punch. I want to leave with a jab. Boom, boom. Got to protect yourself on the way out as well as the way in. I come in, duck under his punch, hit a rib, hit the head. I can step out with a power punch. Get some combinations going. 2 jabs, a straight right. 2 jabs, straight right, left hook. 3 jabs, boom, boom, boom. Straight right, left hook, uppercut. I gotta go there. 2 jabs, straight right, hook, elbow. You got to develop some kind of routine. You got to vary that routine. You just can't come up and say, "Well, there's the bag. I think I'll hit it." You got to have something in mind. You can't walk up and say, "Well, there's the octagon. There's my opponent. I guess I'll fight him." You got to have a game plan.
Okay, but imagine actually being the opponent and the guy reacting like that. Do you get angry at not being taken seriously, or do you get terrified of the fact that this guy doesn't seem to have any reason to take you seriously? Oof.
I'm here. So, okay, I'll hit a couple jabs. I'll face up to the right. I'll step in for a left hook. When I'm doing this, I'm using my whole body. Just not going boom, 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 boom. My whole body's working. My hips are moving. Throwing the punch from my legs.
Good
Got
combination.
off balance there. Got a little sloppy. So now I come back. What did I do wrong? Well, I come in here. I stood up. Got too erect. Want to protect myself. There you go. That's proper. Why? Because I stood back and I thought about it. Well, what did I do wrong? Oh, this is what I did wrong. Bam, bam, bam. Again, this is conditioning. I do this for an hour. Sometimes I'll do 10-second sprints. Someone will yell, okay, time. Time.
Okay, like he said, these were sprints. Yeah, they basically have the same conditioning and benefit of normal sprints, just with the upper body rather than the lower body, which is actually very good because a lot of cardio for people tends to be lower body based. Yeah, be it running, be it cycling. Yeah, sorry, 1 second. Sorry, back acting up again. But okay, but yeah, so any form of cardio that can affect the upper body as well, or specifically, is going to be great. Which is one of the reasons why battle ropes became so popular, because it's an upper body cardio method. So, this is great.
That's the end of that. Now I get a 10-second rest. Take my time, develop my wind back. Now I go again. Time. As you notice on this sprint, I'm twisting my body. I'm just not coming up here and going. I'm not coming down, lowering my hands, protecting my belly button, protecting my nipple. I'm working on technique. Bam, 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 bam. When you fight, when you hit the bag, when you hit a person, you want to give them everything you have. You can't give him everything you have by just throwing arm punches. They don't work. Again, that's why I have gloves on. I'm here. Sizing my opponent up. Figure what I'm going to do. Got head movement. I'm moving at the waist. I'm not throwing my punch here. I'm not leading with my face. If I squat, boom, 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 boom. I come in, hit the ribs. When I hit the ribs, you hit the man's ribs. His hand comes down. Now you attack his face because it's exposed. Soften him up, bam, bam. Drop underneath his punch. Rib shot, he drops his hand, bam, knockout punch. I get tired. If I get tired, I have the luxury of switching. I fight both right-handed and left-handed.
And of course, I have to mention this. We do the same thing in karate, so
So that way I can cheat. It gets me in trouble sometimes. Why? Because I'm not getting full condition with this side. But I fight that way, so I have to train that way also.
Yeah, okay, that's actually interesting. He says that because he fights both sides, one side doesn't get properly conditioned. Now, there is something similar to this. With the hardstyle conditioning that karate does. It does, specifically with the Makiwara. One of the old masters from Okinawa, Itosu Anko, the grandfather of modern karate, I think his nickname is. Basically, he said that you should train your non-dominant hand twice as much as your dominant hand to even it out. So that might actually be a decent fix for what he just said there.
Notice how my hands come straight back to where they're supposed to be. This one stands right here. I'm not walking out there. I'm not fighting like this. I'm not trying to protect my ears or above my head. What you do here is you're exposing your ribs. What I want to do is I want to protect my chin. I want to protect my ribs. I'm not walking out here fighting like this either. These are my ribs exposed. My elbows are right next to my ribs. My hands are next to my chin. I'm presenting a small target by moving to the side. If I walk out here, not only do I give him a big target, I also have only arm punches. I have no leverage. If I decide I want leverage, I have to cock back. While I'm cocking back, my opponent will hit me. Present a sideways, whatever side you have. Again, you can take a step back or you take a step forward, whatever the situation calls for. Here I am, small target, balance. I'm punching through that window, but my body's not going through the window. Using the whole length of my arm. Use it. You have it, use it. Also, you got a power punch. Sit down on that power punch. You're extending here on the jab. Bam, come back, now sit. Whacking with it. Bam. Again, you're here, sit, bam. Unload all your strength, all your power on it. Boom. Step in, hook. Step in at an angle. I'm just not stepping straight in. When I step in diagonally. Boom. I'm cocked. Boom. I'm throwing my punches from my chin. I step in. Boom. I'm not stepping in, winding up. You're going to get hit. You also don't gain any power off of that.
Well, you can.
These punches are tight. All the power comes from your hip. Does you no good. Come in. Take a second to drop your hand. Wing this sucker. You're not gaining that much. What you're doing is you're losing time. You're opening up yourself to an attack.
Yeah, better way of putting it. You're not gaining much. It's not that you're not gaining anything. Because you are. Yeah, gaining some level of power with the extra motion. Yeah, because any amount of space that you can gain gives you a benefit of power. That's, funnily enough, that's the same reason Boss Rudin gives for why he likes palm strike so much, because it gives you an extra couple of inches of space to generate force, when striking. And, when in close range, a couple extra inches makes a big difference. So, an extra foot will make a lot of difference in power generation. But it's a risk-reward thing here, where he thinks if you get in a position and then lower your fist and then punch, then you're lowering the reward and raising the risk. I mean, the reward stays relatively the same because both are likely to knock out, but the risk raises substantially because you're opening yourself up to an attack.
This has been the Predator Conditioning Tape. Not everybody has the luxury of training 24 hours a day like I do. But what you can do is incorporate this into your lifestyle. This is hard work. That's what life's all about. Thing is, you're a champion. I'm a champion. Everybody's a champion as long as you don't quit. When you use this, always concentrate, relax, enjoy what you're doing. Good luck.
Right. Okay, and that's the end of the video. So, let's give it. No, what were we? Here thinking. Okay, so realistically speaking, he mentioned that one of the reasons he doesn't spar is because he has a good mitt holder, but he didn't do or talk about Mick punching in the video, so I can't comment on that. He mentioned that he lifts weights for about an hour and a half almost every day. Yeah, he said when he wakes up in the morning, he lifts weights for an hour and a half, or he hits the bag. Sometimes he does both, but he didn't say anything about how he's lifting weights, what kind of weights he's lifting, anything along the sort. So and as much as I would like to speculate on that, there's not really much we can. But I think I might look into it, get some more information, and potentially do another video on it. And if you guys made it through all of this with on Trainer Reacts to Don Fry's conditioning tape, let me know in the description if you would like to see that video. Until then, let me know if you have any other other things you would like me to react to for this series. And of course, thank you all very much for watching. This is Random Man signing off. Sorry. Wait 1 sec. Sorry. This is Random Man signing off.